It's another work update video on the 58 Eldorado. Not much done in this department. We took all the masking off there. Still waiting on some parts to come before we get back into the other. And so we're redoing all the brackets and all the drive accessories. And one of the always sore thumb things, I think, on a lot of these old cars are the power steering pumps. Usually, people buy them rebuilt and things like that, and they're always just either blacked out completely, spray painted, spray bombed, and not many people really go into them. This is the power steering pump, and this is after we kind of did a detail job on it here. And basically, these are not too hard to take apart once you got it off there. You have to pull the pulley off, and it's not too hard to do that as long as there's a jammed on there. So we redid the pulley, and there's some other parts that we've re-detailed up. That's the engine fan, which polished up the blades, both sides, and we actually put a coat of clear on it. And this is one of the products we use a lot. Just this VHT satin clear. Anything that you polish up or nuts and bolts, you put a little bit of that on there, and they'll last a long time and look good and not tarnish out too much. This is all redone here, nice and glossy black. That's the power steering reservoir. And then the pulley. The pulley was kind of, it's probably been bare metal most of its life, or I think, it's supposed to be black, but who knows. And there's some of the brackets, and these are supposed to be blue, the one that goes to the alternator, and that's the power steering bracket. And this is for basically, at least for 57 and 58, this is the way they should be, whether it's Eldorado Brougham or a Cadillac 365 motor with pretty much anything, and they're all going to have pretty much this power steering too, unless you have the air pump on the power steering, which is more like 59 and stuff like that. But this is a 58 with electric, and so it's Eldorado Brougham specific. But the power steering is not Eldorado Brougham specific. This Saginaw pump's been on a lot of Buicks and Oldsmobiles and things like that too. So this is how they come apart. Pretty easy. And there's not much on the internet with these things, and it just kind of took me to realize that this may be and I've just got one bolt in it right now to take it apart. And when you take it apart, it's going to spring up just a little bit. Don't let it shoot out on you. It's not going to shoot far. It's not much force on it once you get the bolt out. And so we're going to pull that little bracket off. That's how that goes there. And that comes out. And you're going to have that out there, and so keep those in place. I've just got this balance. Doing it one-handed, it's a lot of fun. I'm gonna put that back so I don't forget where it's at. And this is the top over here, so the reservoir goes here, and that's the front down there. That's the shaft, or the place. So it's sitting straight in that way. So I'm gonna pull that off, and you're gonna see this pop out here. This is a spring and a valve, and so the valve's gonna come out and the spring is gonna come out. Let me hold it right there. Okay, that's what they look like. And when you get them out, you're probably going to be a lot of fluid and stuff coming out. And that's the way they go in. If you look at this piece here, it's got a nut on that end. And it actually has another spring inside of it. I did not take that apart. I've never taken one of these apart, so I don't know what's in it. Diagram shows just another little spring and valve in there. So the spring just goes in here either way. And this goes in with the bolt head looking thing down in there, so I don't get that backwards. You can put it in either way, it's a problem. So there's the next thing. This part here is just set in here. So if you separate it, okay, that comes out, and that's what the back of it looks like. Now, does this have a direction? No, it doesn't really matter. It has two pinholes, and you can probably put it either way. I think it's the same either way. So if you get it messed up, there's only two ways it can go, and neither way is wrong. So that goes on, or back on there. You can see it right there, and right there. So it's back on, and it looks the same either way. So that's next. Then this part here is kind of like a body. And see these little, that's your pump. And so those spring out. And if you take these out, those will come out. if you're not careful. So you have this thing, my suggestion is do the same thing, face it straight down. Then this part comes out here. And I gotta separate that a little bit easier there. It's not coming apart very easy because I screwed it together. So let me get a screwdriver here. I'll tighten this up just a hair, and there it comes. These have they're dowel pins on this, and so there it's coming up there. And there's your dowel pins, and that comes all the way out. Now, does it have a way it goes on? Well, I don't really know. This is the way it came off, and I looked at a diagram, and it loosely says this. So remember, this is the top, this is the bottom, and you're looking at it from the back. So this cavity here kind of goes up. And if you put it on upside down, it'll go on upside down, and I really don't think it'll matter. It's the same as the other. It still has the cavity up. So I guess it doesn't matter which way it goes either. Now, can it go inverted? Yeah, it can. And that may be the problem. You may not want to do that because the cavity goes the other way. So this is the way it goes. That cavity's that way. And so if you take this out and take it apart, and you set it back down to keep it in track like that. Now, this has, if you want to disassemble it more, a C-clip right there. And that's how the shaft comes out. So you take that little C-clip out, then that whole shaft will push completely out of that pump. Now, you may not have to do that. I went into this one because I didn't like the detail of it. There was really nothing wrong with it. And so it was just black bombed. And you can't really just go paint these things without separating them to have any kind of a nice look to them. You can, but you know, it's harder. And plus we wanted to make sure it was all right. So anyway, that's what those are. Make sure these will come out. I'll pop one of these out. Don't want to lose those. That's that. And so they will stay in there if you keep it stable on something like this, and it'll spin. You can see it there. Now, there's a bearing in here. There's two bearings in it. And if yours is wobbly, you probably want to replace those on that shaft. There's kits that come with it, and they have these O-rings. There's two O-rings here inside it. That's one, and there's the other on the back housing right there. You know, to make sure those are well lubed and things like that. So that's how it goes. And there's a front seal, and the front seal is up here. And so if you have your pump leaking out of that front seal, yeah, you can change that. You probably don't even have to go into the pump to do that one. And so that's not a bad thing there. And I believe that is the same pump seal that goes on the newer Saginaw pumps too. So it looks like it is, same part number. So all the way up to like 77 or something maybe, you know. A totally different look, but it's the same seal. So to go back the way this goes, we're gonna just drop that back on there this way, like that. Put the dowel pin holes in there and drop it down. And this piece back on, like that. Get under it there, get some light on it. There, that piece, and then this. Make sure you got the top and bottom. Remember, there's the top, that's this is the top. It goes the same as your other reservoir hole there. So make sure you don't get that backwards. Keep a little bit of pressure on that. Whoops, I just knocked the O-ring out. So you want to be careful of that. I may not be able to do this with one hand. So let's see how it goes here. Get that in there. And those come with a kit with the seals and the O-rings, and just put in eBay and you'll find them for 57, 58 Cadillac, Buick pump. And so there, it's in there, right? Make sure that valve is not jammed, it goes in and out fine, and then you can put your bolt in there now and keep working. And so that's a kind of a detail. So when it's all together, yeah, with the pump on there, it'll look pretty good on the car. Won't look overdone, looks correct. More, you know, the bare metal, because that's how they were. They were bare metal, and they were kind of rusted, and then people have painted them black over the years. At least what I've seen on original. The pulleys are black, pumps are kind of bare metal. The reservoir is black. That's correct. And then the reservoir tops on this. This one's polished up, so we're gonna polish it up and clear it. You can do that with yours. And remember, this is a flat cap. Some of the other Cadillacs, because the Brougham has a low hood, and so it's a flat cap on this. Yeah, so there's some dome ones on these. So these are kind of rare to find, I think. So, and that's kind of it. So that's it. And pretty much, we don't do anything fancy. I mean, we have a big, commercial pressure washer, so everything gets cleaned that way first. And then a lot of this stuff is just wire brushed and then cleaned. If we have to really rebuild something bad, we can bead blast it or whatever. But we really don't try to do that to these things. More like, so all this casting right here, that's natural the way they are. It's not dirt in there or anything. It's just the metal casting on those. And that's all really clean when we painted it. So what else? That's kind of it on the pump. So that's one of those things that lesson I learned there, something I couldn't find on the internet. A couple of diagrams that are not really that great on these, but and no pictures. Nobody's got a picture of one of these things apart that I can find. So, and then to put it back, this bracket here, I'm not sure this is on every car or just the Eldorado Brougham. It goes like that. And you have that hole there, which is another bracket for how it mounts. So, and this bolts straight to the here. One of them is the here, and one of them is where you slide it. And that's going to actually be on the car this way. So that sits on the water neck, down there on the head. Pump comes in, that's how it adjusts. And when the pulley's on there, you have to put a wrench in behind it to get it. It's a pain in the butt, but that's the way they were. So that's update on the Cadillac. A little bit of concentration on the Saginaw power steering pump. And the next thing we're going to go into is taking this thing off, detailing it all up, showing you this generator compressor combination deal here, which this works. And so we're not rebuilding it, we're not going to go into it, we're just going to detail it up some. And this is very expensive because it's specific to the Brougham. It's probably one of the most expensive parts on the car, because to get one of these cars had to die. So, and then of course into the carbs, which the carbs are shared into other tri-power Cadillac motors. So I don't think there's anything Eldorado Brougham specific on this. Maybe not. That's a kick-up solenoid. It's kind of cool. Retro vacuum, but electric too. Yeah. And we'll get more into that in a little bit. But that's it for now.